Chicago. So I want to be honest. It's not as if it's just Republicans who have monkeyed around with elections in the past. Sometimes Democrats have to. Whenever people are in power, they have this tendency to try to, tilt things in their direction.
All right, so there's Barack Obama in 2008, ladies and gentlemen, saying Democrats and Republicans have monkeyed around with elections because when people are in power, they like to stay there. He also said, he was speaking in Ohio in 2008 there, he also said in answer to a woman's question, how do we make sure that the election isn't rigged? You ever hear that word before? He said, well, it's good that the Democrats are in charge of the voting machines here. So this is exactly what Donald Trump has been saying, just in a different way and a different setting. It's exactly. But when the media reacts and the left reacts and they're so they feign this horror. Never before have they heard anybody impugn the integrity of a presidential election. Here he's running for president. And he's saying that both parties mess around with election results and that it's a good thing that in Ohio, the Democrats count the ballots. I mean, that's the same exact thing. Rejoining us on the panel, and of course, giving you the phone number first, 877-Newsmax, 877-639-7629. Brent Budowksy, writer for The Hill and former aide to Senator Lloyd Bentsen, and Jim Hoft, founder of thegatewaypundit.com, conservative blogger and investigative reporter. So, Brent, here we have Barack Obama saying, elections are messed with all the time by both sides. So why, when Donald Trump says this is rigged, it's not fair, I'm not going to sign away my right to contest it, why the big deal?
Well, the big deal, and obviously there are cases, I've done some Chicago politics, as has Barack, where it's done by Democrats, sure, against other Democrats too. But 2 points real quick. Point number one, the real voter suppression done this year is by Republican governors, state legislators trying to keep blacks from voting. Many courts in many states have already invalidated that. That's number two. Even more important, and many Republicans agree with me about this, of the higher level ones. What Donald is trying to do is find an excuse for why he's going to lose, and he will delegitimize the American election by claiming he lost it unfairly so he can satisfy his ego and vanity, which is exactly what Vladimir Putin wants. Because like Trump, Putin wants to delegitimize an American election. That it's true. But do Democrats do it too? Sure. But this year, the last several years, it's been attempted voter suppression of black and Hispanic voters. And anybody wants to make a wager where either of them go in November in 13 days, I'm all ears.
I know. You're aching for a bet. All right, I'm going to hold something up here backwards because I don't want anybody to be able to get my... This is my driver's license, Jim. And now, we are so racist in this country, or at least where I go, in New York and New Jersey, that I can't open a bank account. They don't want blacks opening bank accounts without my ID, driver's license. I can't go to a doctor and give them my insurance without giving them my photo ID. So I guess they don't want blacks going to doctors. It's funny that you need a photo ID for everything, but when it comes to voting, when people want to shore up the system to prevent fraud and make sure the right person is actually voting, then all of a sudden it's against blacks. Will you explain that to me, Jim?
Yeah, it's disgusting, isn't it? Anytime you try to propose something to make it a fair election, a free election, Democrats block it because it denies them the chance to commit fraud. We all know this. We see it time after time, year after year. I have a brother who travels in East Asia. He goes to all these countries, and they're amazed that in America, the land of the free, the home of democracy, that people do not have to bring an ID to go vote. I mean, it's unbelievable, and it's just ripe for scandal, and it's no surprise that Democrats would support these types of, in types of laws that would prevent fraud.
Brent, I go to vote in New Jersey. All I have to do is sign my name. I could send anybody to go do that. You think that's acceptable?
Now, first of all, Steve, I would let you vote anywhere. That's fine with me. I'm not sure about Jim. But no, many courts all over the country have been agreeing with what I am saying here about the voter suppression policies in a number of states. The only other point I'd make real quick, and even Jim's going to agree with me on this, if you ask Marco Rubio, John Kasich, Ted Cruz whether the media was biased for Trump throughout the primaries, giving him billions of dollars of free time where they couldn't buy time, they could have committed suicide, they wouldn't be covered, they'd be doing a Trump rally. All the Republicans who ran against him in the primaries would agree with me entirely that on that level, the media was hugely biased for Trump. I actually wrote they should call that airtime as campaign contributions and file it with the FEC. That's how biased they were for Trump. And Rubio, Kasich, Cruz, and the others all agree with what I just said.
All right, Jim, are there any indications, because I've heard reports, I don't know that I've seen any, has there been any WikiLeaks release that indicate that it was the Clintons' wish that wasn't there a story I heard it the other night, maybe you could tell me, or maybe I'm wrong, but that it was the Democrats, it was Hillary's wish that Donald Trump be the nominee. And if that is the case, then I wouldn't be surprised that the media would, acquiesce to make it happen.
Right. I think with the WikiLeaks, what we've seen is that they had contingency plans to whoever it was going to be. They had plans for Rubio, Cruz, and Donald Trump. But we know that this coverage for Donald Trump, it certainly didn't hurt the media. They had record numbers this year because of Donald Trump and because people like to watch someone who's interesting. And that's why we see that people don't tune into Hillary Clinton. Her rallies are significantly smaller. We saw today that she had just a few hundred at a rally in West Palm Beach 2 weeks before the election. It's really unbelievable. No one wants to listen to a criminal, to someone who's boring. And on the flip side, everybody likes listening to Trump. He had 15,000 yesterday in Sanford, Florida. So the ratings proved a gold mine for these liberal outfits, even though after he won the primary, of course, we saw them flip and start attacking him nonstop till today. And certainly we expect that the next 2 weeks.
No, that's a good point. I want to switch gears, guys, before we got 3 minutes. I don't want to run out of time before I bring up Obamacare. And Brent, I could play another montage of 2008, Barack Obama talking about how premiums are going to go down $2,500 per family. We have some key states where Arizona premiums are set to go up over 100%, 40%, or 70%. In Pennsylvania, an average of 22% nationwide. Families now have to pay $5,000, $6,000 premium and then $5,000, $6,000 deductible on top of it. And I think that, if Donald Trump keeps hammering this home, this is an issue that is going to resonate with America.
Well, first of all, Donald Trump hammered it home yesterday, and he said his employees in his company were hurt by Obamacare. Turns out his employees in his company don't use Obamacare.
Because he's a generous man.
So he kind of made that up. He's a generous man. No, in the final analysis with limited time, I was warning about this from the beginning. They should have included a public option in it. It was a mistake when Obama gave that away because Republicans and insurers didn't want it. In the end, liberals will advocate that, and in the long run, I think liberals will win that debate.
Jim?
It's a disaster, and I hope Trump, runs on this for the next 2 weeks. I posted yesterday the increases in these battleground states. It's disgusting. The left has pummeled the middle class. It's time for the middle class to wake up. And I hope Donald Trump gets this message across because it's devastating what Democrats have done.
Well, gentlemen, I always appreciate a great debate. So let me ask Brent before I end. You're, of course, Jim. Can I ask both of you? Game 1 of the World Series. Brent, surprised it was, 8 strikeouts of the first 9 batters never happened before. The Cubs, once again, their offense disappeared as it did for 2 consecutive games in the NLCS. So what's your prognosis for the rest of these series, Brent?
I think the Cubs pitching gets better now, starting with Game 2. I was in mourning after the first Nick Cavalier game. But if Donald Trump wins, I'm moving to Paris. The Knicks I expect to lose. The Cubs I expect to pull it out. But if Trump wins, I'm in trouble. But I don't think I'm going to lose my bet with Jim about that one.
Jim, I know you're a Cardinals fan. Are you rooting for the Cubs?
Oh, definitely. I had a grandfather who lived to 93, never saw the Cubs win. So I hope that this is the year.
All right. Well, we shall see. Game 2 tonight. Brent Budowksy, Jim Hoft, thank you both very, very much. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, Give Me 5. And we're going to go back to 3 years ago, 2013, when I had Mark Halpern on my show and we talked about Obamacare, and he made news everywhere by admitting there were death panels in Obamacare. Then he backtracked. By the way, my hair was a little different then. You'll see if you keep it here.